World Trade Organization chief commends Nigeria's economic reforms and initiatives.
Federal government launches skills program with women as main beneficiaries.
INEC begins voter registration ahead of 2025 general elections.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, we focus on stronger support system to prioritize breastfeeding.
So when we talk about supporting breastfeeding, it's more than just having policies. It's about making sure that every mother, especially those in emergencies or from marginalized communities, actually gets the help that they need.
Now, that's true. These are the women who often face the toughest barriers, so they should be front and center in all efforts. And of course, that's why we're focusing on breastfeeding today.
Indeed. And then there's the issue of misinformation. New mothers are bombarded with myths and conflicting advice. And that can be so confusing, I guess.
So true. Now, there's where clear evidence-based information makes all the difference. Guidance that's consistent and trustworthy helps moms feel confident in making the best choices for their babies.
And when you put all these pieces together, support for the vulnerable, accurate information, and strong programs, you're not just helping families, right? You are improving child health, cutting healthcare costs, and building a more productive workforce.
In the end, supporting matters is supporting the nation. And this all-important topic is our focus on the program this morning. I'm Henry John. We're reaching you live on the network service of the NTA.
And I am Victor Azo, and very soon we will be flipping through the papers to see what's buzzing on the major newspapers this morning. But before then, let's take you through the early morning news with Musa Abubakar. Musa, good morning to you.
Good morning to the both of you, and here's the news. The World Trade Organization, WTO's Director General, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has commended Nigeria's government for the outcomes of various economic reforms embarked upon, now leading to stability in the economy. The DG WTO, in company of Nigeria's Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Ola Jumoke Oduwole, visited President Bola Tinubu at the State House. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, who was a coordinator minister of the economy in Nigeria, also offers advice on the required next steps to grow the economy.
Not really improve an economy unless it's stable. So he has to be given the credit for the stability of the economy. So the reforms have been in the right direction. What is needed next is growth. We now need to grow the economy, and we need to put in social safety nets so that people who are feeling the pinch of the reforms can also have some support.
The federal government has announced a new national skills program aimed at connecting 20 million young Nigerians to jobs, training and entrepreneurship opportunities by 2030, with at least 60% of beneficiaries expected to be women. Vice President Kashim Shettima gave the assurance as he assumed the chairmanship position of the reactivated board of Generation Unlimited Nigeria. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Muhammad Idris, is in Enugu with a high-profile Directors General of Federal Media Agencies on a working tour of federal government projects. The minister, who paid courtesy visit to the governor of Enugu State, Dr. Peter Mba, described the infrastructural development policy of the federal government as key to national development. To keep citizens abreast of the federal government's policies and programs, the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation has held a sensitization program to enlighten the public on the projects being executed by President Bola Tinubu to uplift lives in the Southeast. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced the commencement of voter registration for the 2025-2026 cycle ahead of the upcoming general elections scheduled to begin 18th December 2025. The Minister of Interior is urging the new Controller General of the Federal Fire Service, Olumode Samuel Adeyemi, to lead with initiative, innovate boldly, and push reforms that will transform the agency into true fire and rescue service. The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, has given the federal government a 7-day ultimatum to refund allegedly diverted workers' funds from the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund and constitutes the governing board of the National Pension Commission, PENCOM, in a communique issued after its Central Working Committee meeting in Abuja, chaired by NLC President Joseph Ajero. The union warned that failure to address these demands could trigger a nationwide strike. It described the alleged diversion of 40% of workers' contributions into the national coffers as revenue as a clear violation of the statutes establishing the NSITF, and demanded PENCOM provide a full status report of the funds within the same 7-day period. The CWC meeting also reviewed pressing issues affecting Nigerian workers and the state of the nation. Among its resolutions, the union called for urgent action to end the leadership crisis in its Edo State Council, approving the constitution of a caretaker committee to manage its affairs until fresh elections are conducted. Well, that's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues after the break.
Give more strength to your hair with Mega Growth Leave-In Strengthener. It's infused with nourishing oils and conditioning proteins, so you can say goodbye to hair breakage. Wow! Mega Growth Leave-In Strengthener.
Nivea Black and White Deodorant, now with 72-hour protection. But what does that mean? 3 cities in 3 days and no fear of sweat and odor. 120 dances with skin as smooth as the moves. Sweat, stain and odor protection. Nivea Black and White Deodorant. Skin is for embracing life. Nivea is for skin.
Have you been aspiring to be a student of the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University Zaria to no avail? Worry no more, as you can gain entry through NTA Television College Jos, an affiliate of the renowned Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, where eligible candidates with a JAMB admissible scores of not less than 180 and 100 scores, and with 5 credits O-level in social sciences, including English and mathematics, can turn their passion in broadcasting to profession by applying for a BSc in mass communication and MBTE approved innovation diploma courses in film and television production, broadcast journalism and television engineering respectively. The college, as a training herb with a pedigree of professionalism in the media space, also offers specialized courses in other related fields. For more information, visit our website at www.ntatvc.edu.ng or contact 08033 834-343 and 08069-809-897. Announcer Management.
In a nation where voices unite to shape the future, comes a groundbreaking television series that delves into the heart of democracy. Get ready for Reshaping Democracy. Hello, Nigeria. Are you ready to take charge of your democracy? I'm Ayodeji Makide, and I'm thrilled to introduce to you a dynamic television program airing exclusively on the Nigerian Television Authority. Join us as we embark on a journey to explore the pillars of democracy, and its impact on everyday life. From discussions with political experts to grassroots movements making waves, reshaping democracy is your guide to understanding and participating in the democratic process.
I never know my vote will make a change.
All right, many thanks for staying with us. Now time for newspaper review.
No, don't that's all. Chukwudi Okoliubaja is seated and ready to flip through the papers.
You
are already flipping through the papers.
I am happy. I'm better composed now. I was enjoying that voice. You know, the last promo we played.
Good morning to you.
Good to see you, Chukwudi.
Deep baritone. How are you, my dear?
Very well. You don't sound like it's Friday.
I'm raring to go, is it? I don't know what I do, God. You give me happiness. Good to see you. Victor, how now?
I'm good.
All right, so that's what the papers have this morning. We'll begin with the People's Daily. The People's Daily has Tinubu's reforms have stabilized the economy, says Okonjo-Iweala. That's the lead story there. The writer says WTO boss unveils $5,000 grants for Nigerian women. The lead story on the People's Daily. And above that, we have ADC slams Tinubu over excessive foreign trips. And just beside that, federal government targets 60% female participation in new national skills program. And looking at other stories on the front page of the People's Daily this morning, we have Benue Deputy Speaker, local government chairman feud, Idoma women sue for peace. All right, Benue is still in the news, and of course, continuous voter registration is also making the headline this morning. And the caption here says, insecurity bars INEC from assessing 4 Borno local government areas. Ibom Air saga, airline operators lift flight ban on Campfort Emerson. Federal government unveils 10 billion naira interest-free loan scheme for staff in tertiary institutions. And finally, from the People's Daily, we have federal government to unlock $150 billion dormant land capital to boost economic growth. All right, let's see what the Business NG has. Business NG has Naira among strongest currencies in the world. That's according to the CBN. And above that, federal government to link Barrow Inland Port to Lagos Kano Rail for cargo boost, and that's on page 2. Above the masthead of the Business NG, we have Okonjo-Iweala credits Tinubu for economic stability. Tinubu orders review of revenue deductions to boost growth. And finally, from the Business NG, we have 176 blacklisted estates threaten Lagos real estate. Okay. So that's it from the Business NG. Victor, what do you have?
All right, thank you. I have the blueprint. And the lead story reads, DHQ reinforces hunt for Toji 24 hours after Mahmuda leader's arrest. Denies extrajudicial killings in Southeast. U.S. approves sale of $346 million precision rockets, bombs, others to Nigeria. And above the nameplate, FG approves 4 trillion naira electricity sector debt refinancing plan. That's on page 20. And just below the nameplate, FG to Southeast, no region will be left behind in nation's development drive. That's on page 16. Nigeria to reduce dependence on fish importation, credited to Oyetola, and on page 21. And in sports, after AfroBasket victory, FIBA ranks the Tigers 8th in the world. That's on page 32. And this one to the right is amid alleged 189 billion naira withdrawals. Tambuwal storms Sokoto in triumphant entry. PDP, ADC supporters differ. And towards the bottom now, Tinubu's reforms stabilizing Nigeria's economy is on the papers, on all papers this morning. Okonjo-Iweala says so. And the last strip at the bottom, INEC delivers sensitive materials for Saturday by-elections in Edo, Jigawa, Oyo, and others. That's on page 6. Chukwode.
Yes, I'm happy about the arrest of the Mahmoud leader. I hope I got that name correctly pronounced. It tells you that whatever you do, the long arm of the law will always catch up with you. I remember Ere would not know what I'm talking about. Inshallah, in those days, when he was eventually cornered, he said, first offenders often learn from hardened criminals. Secondly, he said, I'll face the firing squad with a smile. Thirdly, he said, the end of a criminal is always bad and terrible. The other time I told you that my set, we crammed up so many things, What am I driving at? Whatever happens, at the end of the day, they'll show you that crime does not pay. I wish that the Turji would turn himself in. I wish that we can actually make peace with all these terrorists and bandits. I see them as my fellow human beings. Whatever they are thinking, or whatever wacky, mentality they have assumed, they've got to know that together we can do better in terms of nation building. So, kudos to the military for taking in Abbas Abubakar. That's the name of the man they just arrested. That's it. You read that Okonjo-Iweala is giving what to women? Okay, you can't remember.
No, it's the federal government that is giving, that targets 60% female participation in new skills program.
I thought it said something about WTO. Yeah, anyhow.
Yeah,
okay, $5,000
Yes.
grants. $5,000 grants for women.
That's not where I am coming from. I'm going to come from Tinubu's reform stabilizing Nigeria's economy, Okonjo-Iweala. Editors are free to choose their news angles. I stopped saying Tinubu is competent. I stopped saying that about 8 months ago. So I don't begin to sound like a sycophant. But if you check how prices are going down now, and nothing special has really been done, opening of borders so things could flood in, it tells you that the economic policies are beginning to work. What people need to do is to give it more time. We agreed almost unanimously that what is happening is that even as we see signs that things are improving, the money that comes into our pockets at the end of the month is still not enough to, that is really the issue, But things are beginning to work out. I keep on saying that I like journalism that says, hey, Mr. President, that's not good. But when you also see a silver lining there in the clouds, mention it. It's called sincerity at the duty post. So I am happy to note that Iweala is saying that the reforms are beginning to stabilize Nigeria's economy. Iweala shoots from the hips. She doesn't know how to pretend. Yes. The electricity sector refinancing, you read that as well.
Yes.
That has become the genie in the bottle. It's as if our electricity is trapped in a bottle. You don't know. We have not radically departed from what amount of electricity we generated even way back to Goodluck Jonathan's time. I thought by now we should be talking about 15, megawatts, not where we are now, between 4.5 and 6 and all that. So I don't know what is holding the power sector. Whatever it is, we should be freed from it because power is at the base of everything. They are looking for alternative sources of power now. Nuclear fusion is the latest they're endeavoring at because they're saying that the AI we use needs a lot of energy input. So the world outside is going a bit further, and we're still doing basic electricity. That doesn't seem to go around, Let's up the game for the sake of
and
dear
I
country.
missed this one, Chukwudi. It says, Oyo Fulani breeders threaten to stop milk sale, meat, over arrest of cows, in quotes.
The story between herders and farmers and community people will continue till we decide to engage modern ways of herding. The CDS spoke up again the other time. I have favorites among Nigeria's helmsmen. The Borno State governor is my first champion. that's Babagana.
Umar Zulum.
Yeah, then the NDLEA man. Now I've added the CDS. That's Musa, you know.
Christopher Musa.
He said the other time, we should be talking about ranching. The man does not want to talk like a politician because he's not a politician. The other time he said, don't tell me farmer had that clashes. He said, if cows move into somebody's farm, it is destruction of property. Then he also said, if you rustle people's cows, you are a thief, you're a bandit. It goes both ways. I like a situation where we come out and say what needs to be said about the continuing story about cows, about, you know, they say they are going to withdraw what? Sale of milk. Don't worry. After about 2 weeks, they will say something different. Do you know what would stop all this farmer herd whatever? If people decide to boycott beef for just 2 weeks, the cow owners will tell them, look, let's make peace. So there are even drastic ways others can behave. Well, they're going to tell you that their nutrition matters a lot. We don't want that situation. We want us to keep on patronizing one another because that's what this country is all about. But everybody has something up their sleeve. That's the point I'm making, you know?
Yeah.
So let us have mutual respect. Leave the cows alone. Don't rustle them. Also, don't let the cows stray into people's crops and all that. It is their, you know, livelihood.
Sure, and some good news. Fuel price drops to 819 naira per liter.
I told you guys.
According to the
What did I tell you? You see, you could just look me, say, because I did drive one Jalopy, one old Renault. When I talk economy, say, no, they take them seriously. I told you to keep on moving like that. The $20 billion refinery means that, first of all, we're not going to have fuel scarcity anymore. Secondly, the people who say they are refining on the other side now have effective competition. And they are saying that somebody's fuel actually lasts longer in cars than some other people's fuel. So the competition is a gbogbo, you know, it has a gbogbo effect. I don't know why I like that Yoruba word. It has a total effect, you know. Just lay open the marketplace, and good enterprise will force down prices and fair play.
And Nigeria to reduce dependence on fish importation.
So are we producing more now? That's the question.
That's the question.
How much are you trying to help people produce fish? What kind of nutrition are the fishes getting? What kind of credit facilities are open to those who want to endeavor? You know, the water input, how good is it and all that? The water source. Fishery is not, you know, it's something that you just take up like that and you think you're going to start making profits immediately. You have to.
And I like the Aku caption from this fish story.
Yeah.
Very interesting. It says, Nigeria to reduce dependence on fish importation. And the response is, and Nigerians will be less fishy in their conduct.
That's my mischievous friend there. You know, when I was in the newsroom, I didn't just write Kane's Arsenal. You know, you look for those words, play with them. Because if you don't bring entertainment into news, you're not talking to Chukudi Okulubaja. You've got to make people enjoy it. You know, that's a good one. Which paper is it? I'm going to give them an award.
Blueprint.
I'll give them my old Renault to drive for just one day.
And FG to Southeast,
yes.
No region will be left behind in nation's development drive.
Is the Southeast left behind, really? Is it? You know...
No, well, the federal government is just restating that.
Yeah.
You know,
Reassuring.
reassuring. That.
The federal government is reassuring. Look, Nigerians should be happy what God has done for them. I don't think any region is really left behind in this country. It's more of the local governments and the governors working. These thrones we throw at the center. This tendency we have that when a politician gets to Abuja, he'll be reformed. When actually he started his looting from your village, it's not going to work. So let's have a holistic attitude towards nation building. It's going to work out. Yeah, you go to Google, you ask about Southeast people. Google will tell you they're some of the most prosperous people on the continent. If the space across the nation was not fair to them, where would that money be made? I want people to reason everywhere, you know. Yes, the politics in the South is, I am one of those who felt that by now Nigeria should have managed to make somebody from South is the president of this country by making a point after the Civil War. It's my opinion. Politics does not work like that, you know. But then you ask, how much are the Southeast people coming together in unity to produce, you know, in Nigeria, a president of Southeast extraction and all
But there's
that?
hardly, when you talk about unity, I remember
Yes.
when Ifeanyi Okowa was going to contest the governorship of Delta.
Yes.
And I had the opportunity of interviewing him, and I asked him, you know, if, you know, this unity among Delta Northerners at the time wasn't going to be a problem. And he said, look, that there is no time that the people will be so united that everybody will say, okay, I drop my ambition, I know you go. That everybody wants to aspire until at a certain point when it becomes clear and then people begin to realign and all of that. So we are not going to say, okay, Chukwudi, because you're wearing a red cap, don't worry, just go. I will stay here. You know, that's how life is.
Yes, I agree. But to give it to my northern brothers, there are situations where northerners in those days will say, hey, okay, for the sake of the region, let him go. They were always ahead of us in terms of thinking like that. You see, when you are wise all the time, you become stupid sometimes.
Sometimes, true.
One of the signs of great wisdom is knowing when to appear foolish. It works out.
Yeah, and talking about politics and, you know, 2027, of course, the continuous voter registration begins on Monday. It's important that those who need to get their voter cards, those who need to change their voting centers or whatever it is, do the needful as early as possible so that it's not when, you know, INEC says we're ending the process, Nigerians begin to cry and complain that, you know, I mean, that has always been the case in previous exercises. So it's important. So this is, so this is another announcement that, you know, on the 18th, which you know, just go out, look for wherever the registration process is taking place, and do the needful as early as possible, just so that you don't begin to complain that, oh, INEC is disenfranchising some people in some part of the country, or they don't have enough this and that. I mean, if you go early, things will be done smoothly. That's what I think.
You know, I've always liked your crisp, fleeting, and not hasty English. You still manage clarity in spite of your speed, so you can talk on. I won't say that INEC has bribed you. You're just being a good citizen and a good presenter.
INEC doesn't bribe anybody, by the way.
I called her the dynamite this morning.
Yeah, she's a great woman. You are a great guy too. Maybe sometimes.
All right. It's time to wish you well.
To kick me out.
And to wish you a cup of tea. Have a great day, Chukwudi.
Okay, guys.
And I perceive you will have a great weekend. I mean, the energy is just...
I know, it's the way God created me. My sadness does not last long.
And good to know that you no longer crack on Fridays.
Thank you so much.
All right. Let's get to our conversation just after this break. Please don't go away.
We're not in a romantic relationship, we're in a dash.
Brotherly relationship. Friends with benefits.
Yeah, very bad boy.
No. Family relationship.
Who be your family?
Situationship.
Are you in a situationship?
It is well.
Survey says... Hey!
Onenge is my girlfriend.
You want dodge? Thank God. Say I hacked. An oversized shirt is okay to wear, but an oversized dash isn't.
Skirt.
Bro.
Shop. Wow.
Pants. Whoa. Name something you add to your text to make them more interesting.
Emojis.
Stickers, pictures.
The way my back at the breathing, at the yara.
Gifts.
Survey says.
My birthday.
Food security is national security. And where there is hunger, then the insecurity in that particular country will continue to remain. And so it is in everybody's interest, not just the government interest, but the private sector as well, to ensure that we have a very good um, agricultural policy that drives sustainable growth and then progress, of course, in its implementation. One of the things that we were doing and we stopped doing as a country is the operations of the storage facilities, the storage infrastructure, all the way to logistics, talking about farm mechanization, the vehicles that we need. The feeder routes, the construction of the feeder routes. The feeder routes are so called because they are not A-trunk roads. They are farmstead roads. I believe that if a considerable investment can go into the construction of feeder roads, then our machines, our transportation equipment would be a lot more efficient. There will be a lot of uptime, less downtime, and we will be able to, on good time, transport our produce from farm gate to either factory gate or market gate. Let us look at how we can make a dual use of our farm mechanization equipment so that when a tractor in the planting season takes a plow, a harrow, and it's able to prepare land, during the harvest and post-harvest season, you should be able to attach a bucket to that tractor to be able to take it to the nearest center where it can then be taken on. These are short and medium-term measures that we can take to boost productivity. We need to ensure that agriculture is practiced in the most acceptable and modern way possible. We need to make sure that the science of agriculture is indeed science. In other words, we are able to apply methods, we are able to apply resources into grain agriculture so that when we are fully migrated away from hoes and cutlasses and all of these menial tasks, which, by the way, have formed some impression in the mind of these young people, they would then be able to see how enjoyable and how profitable agriculture can be. We've seen a lot of digitization of the sector. There is digitization of agriculture today. We have precision agriculture. We also have climate smart agriculture. All of these, of course, hydroponics, greenhouse agriculture, and all of these are actually a better way, a more excellent way of producing food in an organic manner, but a lot more smartly.
All right, welcome back. It's still Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA. And before we introduce our guest, let's quickly take the background report put together by Oyeyemi Ajayi.
Breastfeeding isn't just about feeding a baby. It's about giving them the very best start in life. Breast milk is nature's perfect recipe, packed with the right nutrients, antibodies, and immune-boosting factors. It helps shield babies from infections, allergies, and even long-term health issues like obesity and diabetes. And for the mothers, breastfeeding isn't just beneficial, it's healing. It aids postpartum recovery, lowers the risk of certain cancers, and deepens that beautiful emotional bond between the mother and the child. Yet, experts say breastfeeding still isn't getting the priority it deserves. In some cases, some mothers deny their babies this natural nourishment, and that has a lasting impact on a child's growth and development. So, what's the solution? Experts believe it starts with building a strong, sustainable support system for breastfeeding, one that wraps around mothers through family, friends, workplaces, and healthcare services. This means ongoing encouragement, practical help, and understanding, especially during the early, often challenging days. And of course, it's not just about personal support. Strong government policies, proper funding, and well structured breastfeeding promotion programs are key to creating a culture where breastfeeding is the norm, not the exception. With the right systems in place, more mothers can start and sustain breastfeeding for longer, benefiting their child's health, boosting maternal mental well being, and strengthening communities overall. So, how do we build stronger support systems for breastfeeding? And what more can be done to make it a true priority? Our guests are seated and ready to share their insights.
All right, many thanks, Oyeyemi Ajayi, for that background report. And to begin our conversation, let me introduce right here in the studio Nemat Hajiboy, Chief Child Nutrition and Development, UNICEF. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Good morning, and thank you for having me here.
All right. Also joining us for the conversation via Zoom from Bauchi, Dr. Ruwanu Mohammed, the Executive Chairman, Bauchi State Primary Healthcare Development Agency. Many thanks for joining us, Doctor.
Good morning for having me. Good morning, Nigeria.
All right. Let's begin from here. You've been around for quite some time. So what's your assessment of Nigeria when we talk about support for breastfeeding?
So I want to first start by saying congratulations to all Nigerian mothers and to families that support Nigerian mothers, because over 90% of Nigerian mothers breastfeed from birth to the time a child is at least a year old. So that is wonderful, which means Nigeria is supportive of breastfeeding.
Yeah.
The issue or the challenge we have is when we talk about what we say is optimal breastfeeding. And here I'll talk about a formula. So I always say we need to remember when we talk about breastfeeding the numbers 1, 6, and 24. 1 means a child needs to be breastfed within the first hour of birth, within 1 hour. And we're seeing that only about 1 in 5 children is breastfed, 1 in 3 children is breastfed within the first hour. So they're not getting that first love, that first vaccine, that first hug. Then 6 is children need to receive only breast milk, nothing else, no water, no food, nothing for the first 6 months of life. And again, we're seeing only about 29% of Nigerian babies are exclusively breastfed. And then last, we're saying children should be breastfed for up to 2 years or more. And we're seeing, again, only 1 in 5 Nigerian children is breastfed for that long. So Nigeria is supportive of breastfeeding, but we're not practicing the 1-6-24 formula.
But have you looked at the factors responsible for this? For example, the 1 hour. Women who give birth via cesarean sections find it difficult to do that within 1 hour. Because, if your surgery goes well, you'll be done in less than an hour after, delivery. Otherwise, you may still be, in the operating room. And the fact that there's whatever it is that is given to the mothers, I mean, they are weak, they're sleepy, and all of that. So that happens. And then for the 6 months, workplace, right? Women have to work. So how do they deal with the 6 months? And for the 1 year, you want to talk about the fact that, a lot of mothers get drained with all the issues that they deal with. So have you looked at all those factors that are responsible for the lapses?
Absolutely, and thank you for speaking about a few of them. So I'd say within 1 hour, firstly, let's remember that most mothers can give birth naturally. C-sections are supposed to be just a minority. In any country, we should not have more than 10 to 15% C-section. So if too many C-sections are happening, we also need to address that. Nonetheless, even with a C-section, what we say is as soon as a child is born, that child must be placed skin to skin on a mother's chest. It is actually one of the most beautiful things you can witness when you see a child being placed, and the child naturally will gravitate towards the breast and start to suckle. This is something we observe in nature. I always say we forget as human beings that we are mammals. And as mammals, what distinguishes us from birds or other creatures, we breastfeed our young. And the reason we breastfeed is because development of the child when the child is in the womb is not complete. It is only the ingredients in breast milk that helps the completion of our brain development and our gut development. So remember that placing the child on the mother's chest, even if the child is not able to suckle or the mother is tired, you can still place the child and have that support. It calms the baby down, helps to regulate heartbeat, and gives the child, like I said, that first vaccine, that first food, that first love. So no matter where a mother is C-section, not C-section, this is a practice. Anyone who is assisting the mother at birth, the health worker, the companion, the doctor, must do. It's a non-negotiable. And it's easy to do. I've seen it, I've done it myself. When you look at 6 months, you've rightly touched on maternity leave and maternity protection. The federal government now provides 6 months maternity leave, but it's limited to civil servants. And we're saying it must be available to all mothers. Only 10 out of the 36 states in the country provide 6 months paid maternity leave. So we want all the other states to kind of catch up.
And the
so to
private
speak.
sector is not anywhere close.
And the private sector needs to do it. The other thing we're saying is it's not just about maternity leave, because that's up to 6 months, but after 6 months you come back to work. I can't leave my baby at home, and even if I have good care at home, if I'm breastfeeding, I need to be able to express and store my breast milk in a safe, clean, hygienic place. So we're saying all workplaces, beginning with government, must have either creches or lactation, hygienic, safe lactation spaces that mothers can express milk and take. So that's the kind of support that we're talking about. Now, you also said mothers are drained. Yes, breastfeeding is not easy at all. I tell people, if you're talking about exclusive breastfeeding for first 6 months, it's 180 days. And I'd like to ask you, I keep trying to lose weight and say I must exercise for half an hour a day, and then something comes up, so I'm not exercising. And here we're asking mothers to breastfeed for periods of half an hour at least, 10 to 12 times in a 24-hour cycle, and to keep doing it for 180 days. So we really, really need to support our mothers, whether it's, the husband at home, the mother-in-law, the mother, the sister, the brother, the uncle, the aunt. Let's support our mothers to enable them to do something that is just right for our children.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. I was telling someone yesterday when this whole thing came up that I suspect I probably was breastfed for about 6 months, if I got up to 6 months. And someone was saying 2 years. And I said, well, I think I have to make it up. All right, let me get to Dr. Iwan Lukman.
That's violence against women. How do you want to make it up?
Well, I don't know. Let me get to Dr. Iwan Lukman, who is in Bauchi. Now, policies can sound fantastic on paper. And I'm wondering what the greatest obstacles are for you at the state level towards turning those policies into reality in this regard.
Thank you very much. I must say that I was breastfeed for 2.5 years. So when I go back home, after breastfeeding, I go outside and play and come back and continue breastfeeding. That is in the olden days. Now mothers don't like that. And it is unfortunate that Nigerians have agreed that breastfeeding is actually the first vaccination of the child, as my sister said, because it contains cholesterol and others. The Bauchi State government has tried to introduce policies to 46-month maternity leave from the beginning. If the mother has maternity leave, she'll be able to breastfeed her children. Now, initially, it was only 3 months in this country. We have advocated for 46 months. We are yet to actualize that, because we went to Lagos. We are also in Kaduna to find out how they are doing it. We are still not sure what they are doing. Particularly, Lagos is the only state, I think, that adopted this 6-month maternity leave. And most of our workers are actually women. If you give 6-month maternity leave, and then I don't know what will happen after if they got another pregnancy for that 6 months. And we were very careful about that. And then we realized also that the mothers that are workers within the framework of breastfeeding, they need to close earlier. We gave them up to 1 o'clock to close from work. And those mothers also, we provided crèche And the policy is also to provide crèche in a facility, whether private or government, any facility that more than five workers, and then they are women, they must provide a crèche. But unfortunately, the implementation is very poor, particularly at the private and even at the government level. But all government institutions, including our office and everywhere, we have a place where mothers go in and then they keep their children with the nanny. There is an immunization going on around. They will provide the immunization which government are providing, which is free. And then they close by actually around 1. And that flexible time is good for the mothers. But when we give that, we're now thinking about giving that 6 months. We're saying, is it possible to give that 6 months for this? Because 90% of our staff are mothers, are women. And we don't know whether before that 6 months they will get another pregnancies. Now, the father's leave, which occurs in Lagos, we have to give fathers time to sit down and then take care of their kid with the mother. It's not only the mother that can care for the child, but that is not possible because the fathers are the one rejected, not even the government. Government want to do the policy, but the fathers want to go out and do other roles because of the economy. They want to make sure that the family is fixed. So they don't want to stay for 2 weeks. Even if you give them the 2 weeks leave, but they started in Lagos, which we went and investigate to find out that in that 2 weeks, they don't even stay at home, they go for other roles. So it is really a thing that need to be reviewed. And then during Nigerian government decided that let's have, and even the whole world have decided that from first week of April, we celebrated a World Breastfeeding Week. In that week, we have a team so that we now make sure that everybody will and the couple should adopt exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months, and make sure that let me give you an example in Bauchi. Exclusive breastfeeding is only up to 27.5% in Bauchi. Exclusive breastfeeding is only 27.5%. While the breastfeeding, we can say, is about 80% in Bauchi. But exclusive breastfeeding up to 6 months and 2 years and beyond is only 30% in Bauchi. And that is very low. And when baby are breastfed exclusively, they have an advantage. And this advantage includes to the mother and to the baby. This baby will have good nutrition, early vaccination, as we said, from the cholesterol that was given within the first 28 days. They get a lot of antibodies to protect the child. And then early eruption of teeth, plus prevention of diarrhea. And then if you come to the mother, which we already mentioned, prevent cancers, and then it tends to cause bonding to the child. Then to the economy or to the government, when you are breastfeeding a child, you are rest assured that if you are not using other formula milk, the container that you are going to throw away on the other side, and then it will cost a lot of money to buy, and then polluting the environment. So you are also helping the economy, you are also helping yourself economically. Then by exclusive breastfeeding, you are only buying pampers for 6 months. I try it for 3 or 4 of my babies. I enjoy it very well. And none of my child, none, even all of them has not even had one diarrhea or any sickness until after they started the weaning practice. Another challenge that we notice is the weaning practice. We realize that the mothers have lack of knowledge on how to start the weaning. So then take the child to the grandmother and started giving them only single food, and that is easily they get malnutrition, whether koshoko or marasmu, in the case may be. We now realize that we need to train the mothers during antenatal care how to prepare koshpa or Tom Brown. This Tom Brown is prepared from locally available food material. And then we're training the mother we even used to sell it for them during the antenatal care. Now, the government realized that we need to reactivate nutrition corners in Nigeria. All our general hospital, primary care centers, we started this year, another organization came to support us, Care International, with the support of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We are reactivating nutrition corners. These nutrition corners are centers around during antenatal care. They provide all the cooking materials, train the mothers how to provide this squash pack or Tom Brown. When you prepare this food for them, so that they go home and prepare with the locally available food materials, so that the weaning practice is a critical time. When after exclusive breastfeeding, they should provide a child with locally available material instead of expensive food from the can milk and other things that's expensive for mothers and fathers. So they should be able to use that. And then So we also provide them with the garden. The garden that is being provided is in the hospital. In about 28 primary care centers, we provided this home garden. We are teaching them how to use orange red potato, how to the Spanish and other things that they needed during the antenatal care. We move the mothers to come and train them how we are doing this so that they can do it at home. And mothers have adopted it. They are using it at home. They don't go to market and buy these items to take care of their family. Now, the same government have decided to introduce back gardening in schools. This is what we are doing when we are young. My own home garden, when I remember, I used to carry those, harvest those items in the market in my home garden back to home. And then my mother has the best cook when she was using my own home garden. Now we throw away that. Nigeria has no reason why we have malnutrition or severe malnutrition in this country. We are not at war, but we are not producing food to feed the nation. Like me, I realized that 6 years ago that I'm not producing and I'm only a consumer. We continue to do that, we won't be able to feed this nation, we won't be able to feed the country, we won't be able to support ourselves. Now, recently, I was a farmer, and then recently the government brought food from abroad. This food that they brought from abroad polluted the market, which is good and reduced the food price. But the market is not having any redirection or support for fertilizer, for seedlings, for agrochemicals. We bought I bought almost about 25 million naira I spent in my farm. I have 480 hectares. Everybody must go back to farm in Nigeria. And our governor in Bauchi State directed all the aides, including everybody, including the commissioner's aide, they must have a 2-hectare or 3-hectare farm. He himself, the governor, has about 1,000 hectares of land. Me, I have 480 hectares of land, which I'm cultivating myself, so that I don't buy food from the market except the thing that we like, the meat and others that I'm going to buy. So we'll be able, and I sold over 300 bags just the day before to buy fertilizer. So this is how to form a farm and maintain the farm by the produce you sell. Now, if government brought food from outside, which is good, it has reduced the price. The people will be able to take food home and be able to buy anything. Support farm, source for fertilizer, for food.
All right, Dr. Mohammed, thank you so much for your opening comments. Indeed, you have touched on so many issues, how we can actually sustain breastfeeding and get our children to be healthy. Congratulations, by the way. You said you were breastfed for over 2 years. I mean, you're one of the lucky few. Victor wasn't.
That's why I feel
Victor wasn't lucky. Anyways, no, away from that. And then while Dr. Mohammed was speaking, we had joined us in the studio Dr. Salma Ibrahim Anas, Special Advisor to the President on Health. Many thanks for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Nigerian.
All right.
Happy breastfeeding week and month.
Thank you so much. So all those who are breastfeeding, mothers that are breastfeeding their babies, it's important I state that. So anyways, Dr. Anas, I mean, so much has been said. Hajiboy, Nimat Hajiboy has, spoken about the correct way to breastfeed, and of course we've talked about the factors why some mothers are not able to meet up. But I want you to speak about what government is doing, because I mean she mentioned support. Yes, away from family supporting, government can also support. So tell us some of the initiatives and policies that are in place to support mothers and improve breastfeeding.
Thank you so much. So, of course, as the topic said, stronger support, for women and families to breastfeed. So the whole idea is to promote breastfeeding and also to protect breastfeeding and to support women to breastfeed, as they said, exclusively for the first 6 months and thereafter up to 2 years because of the benefit. So the federal government of Nigeria has always committed to the global declaration to ensure that all babies are breastfed exclusively. And this we started since 1990, with the Innocenti Declaration, where Nigeria is one of the member countries that committed to that. And since then, we have continued to do that. So currently, under the administration of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, there's a renewed commitment, to the global commitment. In fact, there is a lot of intensive action to ensure that as part of our commitment to achieve universal health care coverage, maternal and child health survival is a critical component of it. Without realization of that, we cannot achieve universal health care coverage. So child survival as a component of that is a key pillar in the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Renewed Hope Health Agenda. So as we all know, it must have been said, malnutrition contributes 50% of death of children under 5 years. And majority of children, 50% of that also happens within the first year after delivery. So you can see the importance of breastfeeding. So there are lots of efforts in terms of policies, in terms of regulations to support stronger breastfeeding. So there are several policies that have been developed to promote breastfeeding within the component of child health survival developed by the Federal Ministry of Health and currently being operationalized and adopted at the subnational level. But I also want to mention that one key component is the adoption of the International Code of Marketing of breast milk substitute, which has always been a distraction for most families and for most women, especially women that working class women, if I may say it that way. So Nigerian has also have that act, has adopted that act. We have a national a law, I would say, on marketing of breast milk. So what is it about? It is about regulation of breast milk substitute and marketing of breast milk, that is breast infant formula produced by manufacturers. So for any infant formula to be marketed in Nigeria today, it has to be registered by the authority, which is NAFDAC, after going through all the processes and if they qualify. And secondly, it has to have a statement, a label on the infant formula that says breast milk is the best for your baby. So it's not, it does not replace the breast milk. The breast milk is still the best until prescribed medically before you can use infant formula. And it has also banned marketing of infant formula within our health facilities. So, and they should also be part of the campaign to promote marketing of the breast milk as the best, except where it is indicated due to medical conditions. So although this act is there, which is done by the federal government of Nigeria to ensure that we promote, we protect breastfeeding, and we also support breastfeeding.
But where are we with implementation of all of this, beginning, even before we get to trying to regulate, substitutes? Where are we in terms of implementation? How close or far away from matching global best practices?
So I can comfortably say that we are on track, because our commitment, the global commitment, is to achieve at least 50% of children breastfed with breast milk by 2030? 2030. 2025, yes. So we are in 2025.
We are here already.
So 50% 2025. But I still say we are on track, because I started looking back from where we started, 2019. The survey indicated as of that time, only 2% of Nigerians are properly breastfeeding. So when I say properly breastfeeding, because when you ask the general population, most Nigerian women and families will tell you that we breastfeed. So you see 90% of Nigerian women are breastfeeding. But are they properly breastfeeding? And from what has been described, it means this first 6 months exclusively on breast milk, and then thereafter continue with other additional complements, supplementary food up to 2 years. So from 2% of Nigerians properly breastfeeding from 1990, today from the National Demographic Health Survey of 2023, which is most recent, it showed that at least 29% of Nigerians are exclusively breastfeeding. So almost 30%.
We are not making 50%.
So almost 50%, 50%, 30%. So what does that tell you? At least we've gone surpassed even 50% of our mark. So that is progress. But of course, we expected to make much more progress. We should traject our progress much more faster and achieve that. But I think we are on track. If today we are almost at 30% of Nigerian women are exclusively breastfeeding. because there are several other cultural barriers. There are several other factors within the environment that does not favor women to breastfeed. But I can say that we've surpassed the past mark, isn't it? If 30% of the 50% we are aiming
But
to
why
achieve are
why do
currently
you
doing
feel
so.
that in the coming years, the 2030 targets were even going to be close and not going to get worse? I'm asking that because there's a relationship between poverty and why women are not breastfeeding, right? So, and then the statistics that we have, the World Bank estimates that 54% of Nigerians will live below the poverty line, and that figure is likely going to increase in the coming years. So how do we why are you optimistic that this figure is going to improve and not reduce?
Definitely, there is a relationship between poverty and overall nutritional status of Nigerians generally. But also, there's an opportunity within there because breast milk is natural. You don't have to buy. It's cheaper than infant formula.
Well, it takes a mother who is well fed to breastfeed.
Yes. So what we need to do is, which we have been doing, is to intensify awareness creation on maternal nutrition, use of locally available food to ensure that our mothers are well nourished right before pregnancy, during antenatal period, and throughout the period of pregnancy and post-pregnancy, for her to be able to. And another thing is about the hydration also, because most women are not aware that to produce good quantity of breast milk, at least we're talking about 750 mils per day and above, up to 1,000. So you have to be well nourished, you have to be well hydrated, and you have to be psychologically and emotionally balanced, because it has to do with all your emotional feelings, all the reflex actions. So there is need for a lot of awareness. It's not just about the food also. So, and then you know that the federal government of Nigeria has also approved also and has improved the guidelines on use of multivitamins, supplements for mothers during pregnancy. It's now so easy. It's combined in one pill, unlike before. So now a mother is prescribed this during pregnancy and, of course, even before pregnancy. So it's all about education, education of families and awareness creation to achieve a healthy mother that can go through pregnancy in a good state of mind and health, and then to be able to. But why I say it's an opportunity also, even despite the poverty and the economic situation of Nigeria, is that it's cheap, the breast milk. It's naturally available to you there. You don't have to buy it. So it's, and it's at the right temperature, in the right quantity. You don't have to warm it. You don't have to. You don't have to mix it, and it has adequate amount of water. So within the first 6 months of life, you've guaranteed, just as our my brother there said from Bauchi, you've guaranteed the safety and the health of your child. No infections, no diarrhea. Child is fully immunized. The first vaccine is the breast milk.
All right.
What about the myth?
So this is good within this period of poverty and economic crisis.
I want to find out, is this a myth that when a mother is malnourished or not properly nourished, the baby would also be the same? Is it that the breast milk is, I mean, irrespective of the state of the mother, would naturally nourish the child?
The quantity, the quality of the breast milk remains the same. But in terms of the quantity, because the mother has to be nourished to be able to produce the breast milk.
Okay.
So maternal nutrition, I mean, it's you cannot separate it. You know, they're together in tandem with the child nutrition. The mother must be well nourished.
All
so
right.
that's why we all promote maternal and child health, especially the newborn. You cannot separate the two together.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Anas. Let me get back to Nimat Ajiboy. I'm wondering, you walk across countries of the world. I'm wondering if you found successful models that Nigeria could adapt, you know, that you found in other emergency settings that Nigeria could adapt to improve support for breastfeeding.
Absolutely. But I want to touch upon 2 points that were quickly asked earlier. And one was the optimism of why do we think that Nigeria can achieve the targets. So when we've analyzed the barriers, you know, Dr. Salma spoke about protect, promote, and support breastfeeding. The protection part is in place in Nigeria. Maternity leave, the federal government is encouraging it. What we would really want to see is governors of states ensuring that their states adopt the 6 months maternity leave. Just in the last 2 months, we've had about 4 or 5 states adopt this or make resolutions. We were both in Kebbi 2 weeks ago, and the governor announced 6 months maternity leave. So I'd like to use this opportunity to call upon everybody and all governors to say, let's put 6 months paid maternity leave in place. It is not difficult to do. It's a commitment as a leader, as a custodian, and it can be done. So let's do it. The second piece of promote it, Dr. Salma spoke about busting myths and the education. If we can do one thing, and that is the 6 months part, no water should be given to the child during those first 6 months. That is turning out to be the biggest barrier. You know, we're saying during Harmattan and other times it's very hot. Temperatures reach 40, 45 degrees in the country. And mothers and caregivers feel that, oh, we have to give water to our children. We're saying, no, breast milk has enough water. So hydrate yourself as a mother. If you are hydrated, your child will get enough water. Let's not give water. If we just stop the practice of giving water in the first 6 months, we will double the rate of breastfeeding. So 6 months maternity leave.
No water at all.
No water during the first 6 months of life. Breast milk is the complete food. That's the beauty. I mean, it's, you know, it's one of those miracle foods. Imagine if I told you, here you have a commodity that is giving you water, it's giving you food, it's giving you the hormones you need to grow, it's giving you the antibodies to prevent you from falling sick, it's helping your brain to develop. What few people know is that in the first 2 years of life, our human brains develop the most rapidly. 75% of brain development happens in that first 2 years of life. So if we support our mothers to breastfeed optimally, the 1-6-24, imagine what will happen. You know, you were joking earlier, I used to tell my mother, because my mother felt very guilty when I started to work on breastfeeding, because during her generation, it was seen as, you know, if you can also afford formula and give your child a mix of breast milk and formula, you're doing the best for your child. When I started working on this issue and I was explaining things to my mother, she said, oh, you know, I wish I had breastfed you better and more. And I joked and I said, yes, imagine how much smarter I would be if that happened. So let's support our mothers with the information, with the surround sound of maternity protection. And remember, not, you know, even in the family, Dr. Salma hit upon it and said, we need our mothers to be relaxed and comfortable. The production of breast milk is like a traffic light. If the mother is relaxed, the child is put to the breast, the brain gets the signal, green, 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 produce. So even if a mother is malnourished, you know, the beauty of breast milk is the quantity, quality will be the same. It is the mother's body that will get compromised. So we do say, let's help our mothers to be nourished. And this is where we say the social protection programs in the country need to include families in the first 1,000 days, that is from pregnancy to 2 years. Those families must be in the social register, and we need to support those mothers. So there's a lot, and that's what the government is also trying to do. So there's a lot that can be done to protect, promote, and support our mothers.
But what cultural practices, or if you like, myths that you're aware of that you think is limiting progress?
So the biggest one, like I said, is the belief that it's very hot outside, I'm thirsty, and therefore my baby must also be thirsty. So you see practices like, you know, wetting the lips, giving a little water. We see a practice of, oh, the child is crying and is hungry, so let's
breast milk
give...
is no longer sufficient.
Breast milk is not sufficient. But again, the beauty of breast milk is the more the child suckles, the more milk is produced. It's a hormonal reflex. It has nothing to do with kind of saying, oh, my child is not getting enough milk. A mother's body self-regulates the amount of milk a child
But I've heard
needs.
women say that they don't lactate. Is that possible?
That happens.
No. So over 90% of mothers can breastfeed. The 10%, actually I would say 95%, the 5% who may have issues, and I will hand over to Dr. Salma, she puts this beautifully, is it could be because of emotional state of the mother, it could be because of a physical illness, and or if she is taking some kind of medications, the doctors may say no. The issue is teaching mothers how to put the child on the breast and lactate. You know, when we go around Nigeria or India, my own country, women are breastfeeding, it looks so easy. But when you're a first-time mother, it's not that easy. Finding that position of the child, being comfortable, you know, it takes a little practice.
I almost could do that.
Yeah, they do it. But
not that easy.
But this is why we say that help the mother put the child on the breast within that first hour of birth. I want you to imagine, you know, the child is nicely cushioned in the mother's tummy. It's not hearing any crazy sounds, blah, blah, blah. When it's born, there's this shock, there's lights, there's sounds, there's all of this. The child needs to feel secure. It needs to feel the smell of the mother, the heartbeat of the mother. That's what it's done for 9 months of its life. So if we put the child to the breast, the child feels secure, comfortable, it starts to breastfeed. If that first latching on is successful, we're home. Let me ask you a question. Do you know how big a child's stomach is when the child is born?
Not so big.
Any guesses?
Well, my mom told me mine was...
It was nice and big. You were a nice chubby baby. It doesn't matter if you're a chubby baby or a small baby. Please look at your thumbnail. This is the size of the child's stomach during the first week of life. Well, first couple of days of life. So if your stomach is only this big, the child needs 5 ml, like 1 teaspoonful of breast milk at every feed. We don't need a lot of the milk in the first few days because that milk is rich. It's colostrum, it's like Boost, the first vaccine for the child. So we don't have to have milk flowing in, you know. We have that perception. I've spoken to mothers. We feel the first day there should be milk flowing, so that, and then the mother stresses out. Oh, I'm not producing milk. I'm not. The minute she stresses, the brain gets, you know, that reflexes.
All right. Many thanks, Nimat. I'd like to get to Dr. Anas. She would be able to understand the cultural practices, you know, better and, you know, shatter some of the myths. Yes, I agree. I agree. But you see, there's this thing you hear from mothers that, oh, if you don't give them pepper, water before 6 months, when they get to 6 months, weaning will be difficult. They would not take anything from you. You also hear mothers talk about the fact that, when you're breastfeeding, if you breastfeed for too long, I don't want to say it, but they can't play their roles as wives. So speak about all of this.
So yes, I'll pick from where she stopped. I think she has laid the foundation. So one area I want to raise also, in addition to what you have said as a cultural barrier, is the first breast milk, the colostrum, which is yellowish in color and very small in quantity. So you find most mothers will say that they don't have enough breast milk. So within the first day, that concentrated colostrum, it's very rich, you know, rich in everything, rich in antibiotics, rich in nutrients, rich in minerals, vitamins. And even if it is a drop of it that enters the mouth of the mother and reaches the stomach, it's just enough. So that is another one. And most mothers, cultures believe that they just express it and throw it away. And that is the golden, that is gold actually you're throwing away. And we call it the golden breast milk as of that time because it's the best. So we need to inform mothers and families to know that even within the first 3 days, if the baby is just getting 5 mils of that, that is adequate and very rich. So just like you said, you know, I will put it that way because most mothers feel that the breast is just for cosmetics. So it's another barrier that they feel they should not breastfeed their babies because after breastfeeding, you lose your breast size, you lose the shape, and then it becomes flabby. I mean, these are misconceptions because a lot of studies have shown comparison between even mothers that have ever breastfed and mothers that have never breastfed in their life. And it's the same, the aging processes. You know, it gets...
So it will sag whether or not...
It will sag whether you breastfeed or you don't breastfeed. And I tell mothers there are several ways nowadays with technology and improvements that you can improve your looks, you know, without necessarily depriving your babies of breast milk. So that is a misconception, and we try to educate mothers around that. Then other cultural practices, of course, it's
When you're pregnant, just in case you get pregnant with before your child is completely off breast milk, they tell you cannot continue breastfeeding and all of that.
You can continue breastfeeding and then stop just before you have the next baby and then prepare for it and continue to breastfeed. It does not affect the baby. It's a misconception also that it compromises the breast milk because of the new pregnancy. It does not. Just like she said, it's about the maternal, the breast milk, the quantity, the quality remains the same. So we encourage them to continue to breastfeed.
And they can perform wifely duties while breastfeeding. Some say, oh no, it interferes with the breast milk.
Not at all. It doesn't compare. It doesn't at all. It doesn't interfere. I mean, just like what I said about the cosmetic reasons, it does not. So we need to know that the most important thing is to breastfeed your child because of the importance. She has mentioned it, very important for the brain development. The brain of babies grows very fast within the first 1,000 days. So that first period is very critical for all mothers to breastfeed.
And then you also hear mothers say...
I want to just mention one misconception also, especially for working mothers, in terms of space to breastfeed their babies. So they feel it's a shame to breastfeed in public places and a lot of taboos and discrimination. So they would rather not do it at all until they are back home within the comfort of their homes. So what we continue to encourage also as governors, he has already mentioned about promoting breastfeeding corners everywhere in the public. If we can promote spaces for smokers, that is also dangerous to our health. Smoking is dangerous. Why can't we produce safe spaces for mothers in public places for breastfeeding? So you find that mothers are trying to breastfeed. They may have to go to the toilet, as you earlier said, which is, you're feeding your baby. You don't need to feed your baby in public toilets. There must be breastfeeding corners everywhere, in public places, in the airports, in our marketplaces, in our workplaces. And the government of Nigeria has made a lot of progress in terms of promoting safe spaces for mothers within workplaces by promoting the crèches that are now available in most workplaces. And it's a right for every mother to push for that to happen in their workplaces or even in marketplaces.
All right.
So that is another area that...
Thank you.
Just before we get to Zoom, there's this misconception. She talked about the stomach of a baby. Is it different for a male child and a female child?
It's the same.
Because you hear mothers that have male children tell you that, no, it's a boy I'm breastfeeding. I cannot continue.
It's a misconception. It's the same. It's just like adults. Do you eat different food from the woman and the man? We eat all the same food, isn't it? So it's the same thing for the baby. So we just have to ensure that it is a nutritionally well-balanced food with the right quantity, which is already there for you and for your baby, for you to feed your baby with the right carbohydrate, proteins, minerals, and all the nutrients, including this time around antibiotics.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Salma Nas. I'm sure she's looking for how to give the boys a bad name so as to hang them. Let me get to Dr. Riwan Mohammed. Doc, how do you bridge the gap between rural communities in Bauchi, for instance, and urban communities to ensure that they get the same level of support for breastfeeding?
Thank you very much. I'm very much interested that the federal government has introduced the maternal and child nutrition medicine training to all our healthcare workers. And then this MMS, maternal macronutrient supplementation, is 15 macronutrients in one tablet, plus 13 plus folic acid persolate tablet. The reason why that was introduced, it has been tried all over the world, that folic acid persolate tablet are not enough to take care of the mother and the child. So they realized that they need to give this multiple macronutrient. And then one of the things that is required is that it prevent anemia. It also prevent anemia in the child, prevent miscarriages. That is number one. And then what we are doing in Bauchi, there are cultural factors, as you mentioned, including environmental factors, ignorance, poverty. My concern is the issue of some of them are medical, retracted nipple. She could not breastfeed, she doesn't know what to do. So this thing, we need to train the mothers how to take care of their nipple, to be able to breastfeed their child. They say, the nipple is started, she can't breastfeed. And the child, she has twins, she can't breastfeed. So until my sister said, until medically is prescribed, breastfeeding remains the only option for the mother and the baby. And that baby requires that breast milk for optimum growth, to have a good IQ. No, that the ignorance is key in this and the poverty level. Now, if you are ignorant and you now you want to give water to your baby, most of the water that we're giving are not clean, and they got all sorts of water from the well from all over the place. So during our discussion at the antenatal care, which is another point for mothers, is that we inform them about what to do. At the beginning, they should start early antenatal care. Then when they deliver, they should at initiation, early initiation of breast milk is the key. In Bochi, it's only 24.5 or 24.5%. And even the one that the federal government is 30%, in Bochi is 27%. The exclusive breastfeeding is only 27% in Bochi. While the breastfeeding can be 80%, if mother can breastfeed anyhow they want to breastfeed. It tends to prevent to a sort of a family planning. When you are exclusively breastfeeding your baby, your wife will be safe for some time. It tends to cause that for some mothers, and it's helpful. Now in Bauchi, there's a design for we have this mycin training, and then initially we are doing integrated management of childhood illnesses. We need to link up with the child and the mother. Now, if we have in our office, we have a nutrition officer. In all the local government, we also have nutrition officers and their staff. And then the federal government has mandated all states to make sure that nutrition is key in our agenda, and it should have a directorate so that budgetary provision will be made for nutrition support for our babies. The mothers of their children of tomorrow, they need to get that kind of support from the government and have a department of their own. Now, we even provide them with a vehicle for to reach to the community, to go for actually carrying out a lot of discussion. We reach out to our traditional rulers, to even the pastors and malams, that they should discuss this in during their session in the church, and also in the mosque during the Jumu'at prayer. There's a man that's always talking about breastfeeding. We have about 400 churches in Bochi town alone, and the pastors has accepted this. We are, for example, this week is a real week that every mosque and churches are spreading the benefit of breastfeeding to mother, to the child, to the community, and to the nation at large. If our children are safe. Now, where we are worried is that the area, one or two places that we cannot go out to do that because of insecurity in between some places. Only one or two wards in Bauchi, in the whole of Bauchi. Our governor has done very well on the issue of security. So we are happy that the farm this year, we are going to have a good harvest. So that's the thing that we are doing in Bauchi, including radio discussions, pamphlet are distributed at point in the hospitals, in the marketplaces to encourage breastfeeding.
All right. On that question, just to say that recently at a sensitization to local government chairpersons on the importance of nutrition, they were one of the first states where the LGA chairpersons have now contributed funding for nutrition. UNICEF has a very unique match fund, which is if the state government or federal government puts £1, we will match with £1. And the Bauchi LGA chairpersons committed from their budgets, saying we are concerned about malnutrition, from breastfeeding to complementary feeding to maternal nutrition. We will all put in 5 million naira each across the 21 LGAs I think Bauchi has. So they have contributed resources and we will match. Now, that's for different reasons, but Bauchi is committed to promoting, protecting and supporting breastfeeding.
And then that's the good demonstration, when you talk about how are we realizing it at the subnational level. So the Bauchi scenario is a good demonstration of translation of our policies, into action, because this is where the real action takes place at the subnational level. So you can see from the description how we are promoting and how they are realizing the supporting, using the systems that exist within the state at the state level.
You see, that's great, and I hope other states would take a cue from what Bauchi State is doing. But speak about what health personnel can do about all of this. In the past, antenatal clinics, which he mentioned, is like a contact for mothers to learn some of these things, especially for first-time mothers, and of course to shatter some of the myths and misconceptions about breastfeeding. At the moment, we have a health crisis. You go to antenatal clinics, crowded, the matrons or the nurses don't even have the time to educate the mothers. What are we doing in that regard? Because I don't know, speak about that, because it's a major issue at the moment.
So we have said that what we did right from the beginning till today is to ensure that our all health facilities, especially at the primary health care level, the secondary levels, including the tertiary levels, are baby friendly. And they are certified as baby friendly health facility. So what does that mean? It means that you have trained healthcare personnel that have been trained on the importance of breastfeeding, and even non-health personnel, including the security at the gate and the attendants. They have a role to play. Because what they do, let me just give an example. The security man is well informed, so they check the bags and see, do you have feeding bottles? Because we banned feeding bottles. So everybody is involved in it, and that facility is certified as baby friendly. So the entry point, to healthcare for women and families, as we always say, the maternal and child health, ANC, antenatal care, gives a great opportunity to have as an entry point into services. And in Nigeria, culturally, our ANC is an opportunity to give information to women. So the antenatal care talk, what we call the antenatal care talk, remains still valid and significant. And if you go to antenatal care in Nigeria, no matter how busy it is, the nurses and the midwives or community health extension workers, where we don't even have a luxury of nurses and midwives, they talk to women. They speak to them about antenatal care, about pregnancy care. They speak to them about nutrition. They speak about immunization for themselves and for their babies. They also talk about family planning, even at that point. So this is still ongoing, despite, I agree with you, there is overburden, there is a lot of pressure. But as I said earlier, this administration, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, from the beginning, we made commitment to expand access to quality healthcare services to all Nigerians, wherever they are, and also to beef up and strengthen the primary healthcare as a platform for delivery. So if you recall in the past, the promotion was on having 1 PHC per ward. Today we are promoting even 2 PHCs per ward. And we are talking about a functional PHC. And functionality is not just about the infrastructure, but it's also more important about the human resources for health. So if you recall, through the Federal Ministry of Health, efforts are ongoing to build capacities of frontline workers. And these are people that have their hands on delivering healthcare services at our facilities. So if you visit facilities on an antenatal clinic day, of course, you will meet like over 100 to 500 women there. But that ANC talk is an integral part of it, and is still being delivered at our PHC facilities. Where we are having most of the challenges is at the private sector facilities, which currently we are trying to bring them on board also and to be regulated in terms of the same information, the same approach, and to standardize all the ways that we do things. So this is currently ongoing, and I agree with you, it's an entry point.
And I'd like to say, as WHO, our sister UN agency, says, all women, all pregnant women must have at least 8 antenatal care contacts during their 9 months of pregnancy. Again, this is about support to the mother. Families, fathers, mothers-in-law, we need them to support the mother to come for those contacts. If they come, they can get the information and support.
Please add that fathers should give enough transport fare and feeding
Everything.
money when they're going for antenatals.
Absolutely.
That's always...
So what we did, I want to share some pocket of examples that have worked in Nigeria that we should also, there are a lot of good things that have also worked in Nigeria that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's what we've done in the past in some few projects in Nigeria, which is a cash transfer. So just like she said, at least 8 antenatals. So we targeted 4 ANC visits. So the first visit, when you say fathers must provide a transport, in some situations it's just impossible due to the economic situation. But when we incentivize and give the mothers, for every ANC attendees, for instance, you give her a transport allowance. We piloted that in my state in Borno when I was Commissioner of Health. And we provided, just as of that time, 2,000 naira, which is today equivalent to about 8,000 naira, isn't it? So for every visit, you give the woman 5,000 to 8,000 naira.
She'll be eager to come.
You don't have to tell her again. You don't have to remind her. She's there at the next visit. And we realized when we did that for 4 visits, spending about 20,000 naira, they make at least the 4 visits. And by the time they come back for delivery, you give them additional 5,000 naira.
All right.
So the women are so happy, and we've noticed that it has increased our uptake of ANC, and women coming back to be delivered by skilled birth attendants, because these have been the challenges, getting them to come back to deliver by skilled birth attendants. And that is the crux of the matter if the woman didn't come back to
I
deliver.
like the fact that you are
facility.
spilling some of these secrets.
So this is a cash
You got money at
transfer.
ANC. We need to pause for a break
I'm liking
here.
this conversation. Victor will not
We need to
understand.
pause for a break here so that when we return, we continue. Your secrets are out in the open. Please stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
Well, creativity is so broad. I would say whatever it is that you're creative about, it takes a lot of practice before you become very good. So if it's something you intend to pursue, it's something you have to keep doing. You have to keep practicing. It's not going to be an overnight success, which a lot of people look for. But if it's something you're determined about, but the drawback rather, is that you need what is called staying power. While you're developing your creativity, you need to earn a living. So I know that's where the conflict usually comes in, especially with the hardship in the country and all that. But I think a lot of encouragement from the private sector to create incubator hubs. We've had some of those in tech. We need those across various sectors as well. Incubator hubs where these ideas can come in, be developed, be encouraged, be funded, and then we can expand it from there.
Content creation, while it may sometimes get a bad rap, I think it's actually very important because we have to see ourselves. We have to see ourselves living our lives. We have to show and share our stories. I think that's very important. Now, the job after that is to be able to digitize those stories into something that can provide data and insights, that can ensure that we can be able to support whole-scale industry in these spaces, to ensure that the amount of money that each content creator is getting exceeds what is currently happening for many content creators. The same content creator who lives in Nigeria will be earning less than a content creator who's living in the US or the UK or Japan. And we've got to also bridge that gap, because most of that is being driven by the ability of the consumers to pay for those goods, and also the pricing that many of these platforms have. So I think this is not the job for the content creators and the young people. This is a job for people like myself in the ecosystem who can help support the right pricing, to advocate for the right policies, to support economic development for consumers who want to consume that information and that content. And even beyond content creation, we're seeing that many people are stepping in behind the camera. They are producers, editorial, they are graphic designers, they are in technology, but maybe not in front of the camera. And what we want to say is also, we need those people too. We need those stakeholders involved. And the job of many policymakers, DFIs, is to ensure that the strategic investments get there, the collaboration gets there, and we're deliberate in how we're saying we want to support innovation in our continent.
There's an age group where your brain function is at its maximum, and that's the age group we call the youth, isn't it? So we need the youth, the younger generation, who have the energy, the imagination to be equipped with the proper education, the proper tools, the proper encouragement, and then take what innovation they bring out and turn it into mainstream developmental ideas. So you find a lot of things that are invented by people in school or straight out of school. We need our patent laws to work so that they can earn a living from their imagination. Once the imagination is just for a one-year festival or an event, then it's not worth it. Somebody creates something, we need to get our patent laws to work, we need to enforce them, and then the private sector can use those patents to develop things and encourage more people to be more creative. Back in the days, yes, you had to be an engineer, a lawyer, a doctor. Today we have programmers, we have AI specialists, we have people that are doing ethics on genetics. Those things didn't exist 50 years ago. So there are new areas that need to be explored. The question really, apart from the parenting, does our educational curriculum cater for what the needs of the world will be in the next generation? Because our curriculum is dealing with the issues of the past. We need the government and the private sector to redo the entire educational curriculum to be forward focused, not retroactive.
All right, thank you very much for staying with us. We've been discussing enhancing support for breastfeeding in Nigeria, and it's been a conversation that is so interesting. But we have messages that have come in, but before we take our messages, perhaps I should ask you if there are benefits for a breastfeeding mother, breastfeeding to the mother itself and not just the child.
Absolutely, and I'll let Dr. Salma add, but the benefits, the mother and child are a unit. When a mother breastfeeds, firstly, her body now knows that all the fat or weight she has accumulated during pregnancy, that is then converted into the breast milk. So she loses weight faster if she breastfeeds. The second, it helps to contract the uterus back again to its pre-pregnancy size and, become healthy again. The third big benefit to the mother is that it prevents certain kinds of cancers like breast cancer and ovarian cancer and cervical cancer later in life.
All through the lifetime?
Yes. So these are the huge benefits. And then Dr. Ridvanu also spoke about the benefits of family planning. So if a mother breastfeeds exclusively for the first 6 months, the chance that her periods will return get delayed. So it is a natural form of family planning.
Interesting.
With
All
Dr.
right.
Salma.
All right, Dr. Hannes.
And in addition, also bonding. The first bonding is between the baby and the mothers, just like she described earlier, the skin-to-skin contact. Immediately a baby is delivered, within the first 1 hour, you establish that skin-to-skin contact. So we've seen that just putting the baby on the abdomen of the mother, the baby immediately starts crawling and look for the breast and start suckling. So it creates that bonding and then the emotional satisfaction for the mother. So these are the benefits to the mother, and a lot, as she has already said, on family planning, which is we call the lactational amenorrhea, where if you do it effectively, it's a natural family planning that in most cases, and has been proven to do that for more than almost 90% of women will not get pregnant. They exclusively breastfeed. So, but generally also beyond the mother, the family benefits from it because it
saves cost.
Yeah, the cost has reduced in the family. The burden of diseases have reduced. So the spending has also reduced. And then you can now also take care of other children because of the spacing as a form of family planning. At least you are guaranteed, if you do that effectively in most cases, for between 2 years or more. Some people even breastfeed for more than 2 years. So because of the lactational amenorrhea, you space your children and you are able to feed them better and take care of them better. So on the hospital also, it reduces the burden of diseases, diarrheal diseases, respiratory diseases, and of course, even cancer for the child in the future, because the children do well.
All right, let's take the messages.
Just before we take the messages, speak about mothers who have genuine reasons why they cannot be physically present with their babies. Genuine ways they can actually continue to breastfeed even when they are not present, to give the breast directly to the child. What other ways can they?
So as we said, it's the best meal for the baby. So the last resort is to use the substitute. But so what we promote in most circumstances, even there are situations, of course, which could be mental illnesses or whatever, we encourage expressing the breast milk. So the breast milk could be expressed and stored for the baby. And I think you've talked about that. It can stay for like 4 hours in a normal room temperature. And then 4 days in the fridge, and even 4 months when you make it in the freezer. So we encourage that as much as possible, to train mothers, to train caregivers on how to support, and this is where the support also comes in, to be able to express the breast milk and store it. So for women that are in a situation where they cannot, including working mothers that have to go to work, though I don't know whether we did mention part of the government efforts in creating that enabling environment is the legislation, is the approval that women should enjoy 6 months paid job while they continue to breastfeed their babies. So this has been approved at the federal level, and some states, as Neymar said, Kebbi State is one of the states, and I think about 10 states have already approved that. Yes. So you stay with your baby and breastfeed exclusively for 6 months to ensure that there is no break in that, and then after that you can have flexible working arrangement. If you have to go somewhere, you can express the breast milk or bring the baby to your workplace.
But those in the private sector may not, I mean, they may need to express.
That is a struggle, and that we have to do, because if it becomes a Nigerian law, I think everybody should be able, we should enforce it. And another area, we've looked at those women, but there are women that cannot breastfeed, very few of them in our society, because we are not all the same. So for instance, I can pick one example, a woman that has a HIV infection. So those are medically prescribed. So she cannot breastfeed because the HIV virus can also be in the breast milk. So in such situation, it could be medically indicated, prescribed, that she can use breast milk formula. And you know, in our culture in Nigeria, apart from breast milk formula, we also have other options, like surrogate mothers, which is common especially in northern Nigeria, where you can have your baby fed by another woman. So in the situation where a woman dies, maybe during delivery or whatever reason, that baby could also be fed by a surrogate mother, which is proven also, medically checked, not to have HIV or other infections like hepatitis. So you now transfer the baby and it's adopted by a surrogate mother to ensure that exclusive breastfeeding. So we always say that this can happen, and we can also promote it in our communities.
Fantastic.
That's one of the best practices.
In the case of a mother who may have HIV, if she comes for her antenatal care and gets her antiretrovirals, she can breastfeed successfully. Yeah. So this is why we say, let's encourage our mothers and support them to come during for ANC.
Good.
All right, so let's look at the messages now. We have quite a number of messages. This one says, natural breastfeeding is ideal. Some mothers now want the easy way out in the guise of science and technology. Is this okay? Coming from Charles Ikichuku Abaigam from Anyocha North in Delta State. Another one says, please, in the case of a pregnancy in just 2 to 3 months of giving birth, is it advisable to keep breastfeeding the child or stop breastfeeding and resort to alternatives? Benjamin in Ogun State has that. Someone says, good morning, presenter and guest in the studio. Fantastic and educative program going on there. Amongst the factors hindering prolonged breastfeeding, most mothers suffer from and complain about injuries, blisters around their nipples with breastfeeding, breast engorgement. This makes most mothers reduce the frequency of breastfeeding and consequently weaning the child early. What advice will you give, please? Dr. Precious Ungofa Harry sent that one, and I'll just take one quick one so Victor can take his. This one says, good morning, presenters and guests in the studio. Fantastic and educative. Okay, it looks like it's the same message I read earlier. Dr. Precious Ungofa Harry from River State. Victor.
All right, perhaps we should get responses for those, and then we can continue with the next set of questions.
So I think one question was about if there are issues with the breast, what can be done. The other was pregnancy, if it happens within 2 to 3 months of giving birth. And the third question was about the easy option with science and technology, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I'll say a few things, and then Dr. Salma can come in. So breast milk is scientifically, so if we talk about science and technology, scientifically it is the best option. And I always say, if today I had to invent a commodity like breast milk, I would win the Nobel Prize. As Dr. Salma said earlier, it has everything we need. It does not need refrigeration, heating, it's climate smart, etc. So if people are looking at science and technology, remember that breast milk is the most superior science and technology. We have not been able to actually reproduce breast
something
milk.
better. Yeah?
I said earlier in the program, we are mammals, we forget that. So it's about, as mammals, we breastfeed our young, and I always say it's human milk for human babies. We're the only species, when we look around the animal kingdom, that believes that cow's milk is better for our babies than our own milk, right? You don't see the cow sending its child to breastfeed from an elephant or a lion. The cow breastfeeds her own. So why do we believe that cow or buffalo milk or any other milk is better for our babies?
All
So
right.
science, breast milk. The second
Pregnancy.
question was on the early pregnancy. Dr. Salma, actually maybe the next
Yeah,
two
I
questions.
think
are
we
more-
also, you asked that question before, that of course you continue to breastfeed. And we've seen that happening a lot, because if women get pregnant early and then they abruptly stop breastfeeding. And this is what I saw recently in most stabilization centers that happens. Most women now end up having another malnourished child. Like you see a woman with an 8-year-old, all of them malnourished up to the lowest, because it's the same story. So it's a misconception, and we encourage them to continue to breastfeed, because it does not affect the quality and quantity, but the mother must be well nourished. And we also try to discourage and ensure that they have child spacing. So if you exclusively breastfeed and then do that, it may fail in some women. So we advise that they should have early access to family planning, and that is why family planning is an integral part of the antenatal care talk education for all women.
All right. Thank
So
you.
engorgement of breast milk, yes, this is a common complaint, especially most mothers. To initiate breastfeeding sometimes is a bit painful, because they can have inflamed nipples and all that. So, but as she said, the latching, because of improper knowledge of how to position the baby, and also how to ensure that the baby latches very well. So we advise, we have the pictures we should have described. The mouth of the baby covers up to the areola. It's fully in the mouth, and that helps a lot in preventing some cracks, some pains, and also engorgement in the mother. So that is also very important, and this is part of the support. But then again, you can still have engorgement and some infection. Then you can do sometimes express of the breast milk. So depending on what is medically right, the doctor may have to prescribe a substitute where it is absolutely necessary as a last
All right.
resort.
Thank you. Thank you. We're running out of time. Let's take these messages. Miriama says, what advice do you have for women who give birth to twins or triplets? How does exclusive breastfeeding work here? And from Adekunle in Ogun State, is breast milk, or is it hygienic or advisable to pump breast milk in a bottle for preservation and feed a child later, especially for busy nursing mother? And this one reads, good morning, I never miss Good Morning Nigeria, it teaches a lot. My question is it true that a child that was not breastfed behaves abnormally? And what is the best method to use when you want to stop breastfeeding your child? And finally, Good Morning 90A, please, what is the good time? I mean, how many months for a woman to start antenatal? I think we should take some of these questions to Dr. Rewan Mohammed this time around.
Okay, let me speak just about the multiple pregnancy, because I'm a living example. I want mothers to know it's possible and doable. No matter the number of children you have, you can still breastfeed, because all is about the suckling reflex that helps you with the large production of milk and also the quality of milk. So this is a misconception that when you have multiple babies, multiple pregnancies, you can breastfeed. You can
All
do
right.
it very well.
Let's get to Dr. Rewan Mohammed quickly, please. Dr. Mohammed.
We realize that the issue of twins is not, as our sister has said, cannot prevent exclusive breastfeeding. But when it reaches triplet and more babies like quadruplet, then we need to have an option. And this will be prescribed by a medical personnel. And so it's not something that somebody will decide. The more the baby breastfeed, suck the breast, the more the milk comes out. So if there are two babies, they breastfeed, more milk will be coming out. The only thing that we need to do is to hydrate the mother, do plenty of fluid, and that baby will be taken care of. But some of them, they don't attach the baby properly to the breast, as my sister has said. They don't attach, but the attachment was very poor. So the baby is not getting enough. So they will say that the baby is crying. So they need to get advice from the medical personnel. And the issue of using feeding bottles is not acceptable. No matter how you wash, you clean, you can't be able to clean the feeding bottle, whether you put it in a refrigerator. It's not an acceptable thing. But we only manage when there are no option, no other option. Feeding bottles is not the best. Now, what happens in feeding bottles is that when you put the milk inside, there is a gap, and that gap is the air. When you are breastfeeding that baby, the air will first of all go into the baby, and the baby will get easy satiety. So, and at the end of the day, the baby will not be getting enough, will get malnourished. And that is the biggest challenge we are having, and to be a biggest problem for us. And so there's need for us to prevent use of feeding bottles. But if it is necessary, then it should be taken care of very well. I just want to also say about the issue of our the mothers. The support of Gochise government. Yesterday, he has given additional 200 million to UNICEF. I'm going to send it to the finance department, to the Honorable Commissioner of Finance, to send to UNICEF for what we call nutrition matching grant.
All
we'll
right.
be able to buy. Yes, just yesterday, the governor has approved a pledge that is going to give another 200 million.
All right, thank
The
you
other
so
one is
much. Thank you very much, Dr. Rwanu Mohammed. Because of time, I would have to leave the conversation at this point. Thank you so much for your contributions, and I hope that the mothers have heard you. Dr. Salma Ibrahim Anna, Special Advisor to the President in Health. Thank you so much. I'd like your final words as we round up the conversation.
So my final word is
to fathers.
To fathers and everyone. That fathers should continue to support mothers, build a strong support system within the home that will enable the mother to breastfeed sufficiently for the well-being of our children, our future.
All right, thank you. Nimat Hatboy, Chief Child Nutrition and Development, UNICEF Nigeria. The final words?
I want to say breastfeeding is not just the mother's responsibility. It is a whole of society responsibility. So whether you're a father, mother-in-law, sister, auntie, it is all our responsibilities. If you're an employer, if you are government. And importantly, it is enshrined in the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which Nigeria is a signatory to. So let us all be custodians, play our role, and support our mothers and babies for the best start in life.
All right. So a mother who doesn't breastfeed can be taken to court, right?
No. No, never. No.
We hope we won't reach that level.
All right. All right. Dr. Rwanu Mohammed, Executive Chairman, Bauchi State Primary Healthcare Development Agency. Many thanks for being our guest on the program. So that's it today. Many thanks for watching Good Morning Nigeria. I'm Henry John. Live locked on the NTA.
And I'm Victor Azu. Have a great day.